I also can't hear him in general. Okay, music is off. Alright, we're gonna adjust controls as we go. Clear that because I don't need that to look around. And I want to assign that to other shit. Alright. So where am I? Off center just a little bit. Front dash. No handhold. K14 gun sight. Using the throttle twist grip. Ooh. Alright, I can get behind that. Access commands. But this guy right here. Do I have any? Is DCS just not giving me sound right now? DCS isn't giving me any sound. Alright, we're gonna restart. That might be why I couldn't hear the guy. DCS just decided no sound for you. All right. Holy crap. There we go. So now we have sound. Turn off that sound though. Training cockpit familiarization.
Welcome to the P-51D cockpit overview lesson.
That sounds better.
We will take a detailed look at the Mustang cockpit. You can use mouse look mode to move your view around the cockpit. To turn mouse look mode
Give me
on and
one
off,
second.
press
I
F
need to
plus C. Throughout this lesson, pressing the spacebar key will initiate the next consecutive step once instructions for the current one.
My eye tracker's gonna freak out just a little bit. We need to fix where it is centered. There we go. All right.
The P-51 cockpit is configured in a standard layout, with the instrument panel positioned on the front dash, a center-mounted control stick, a throttle quadrant on the left side, and various aircraft system controls on the left and right panels. With the exception of the flaps control handle, which is located in the bottom left corner of the cockpit, most of the indicators and controls are well organized and easy to read and reach.
Bomb salvo right. Wait. That's right. Oh, and then bomb salvo left is right over there. There we go.
We'll begin with the front dash. The top of the front dash is dominated by the K-14 gun sight. When first introduced in World War II, the K-14 was a major improvement in aerial gunnery. The sight automatically calculates the lead required to hit a moving target based on the shooting aircraft's flight parameters and the target's range and wingspan. The wingspan is set using the wingspan dial on the front face of the sight, and the range is set using the throttle twist grip. This allows the pilot to adjust the range in combat without taking his hand off the throttle. Target range is indicated by the range drum on the left side of the sight. The sight also includes a fixed reticle used primarily for ground attack and as a backup to the gyroscoping sight for air combat. A masking lever attached to the left side of the sight panel can be used to blank out the ring portion of the fixed reticle, leaving only the center crosshairs. The gun sight is operated on the selector dimmer panel. Moving from top to bottom, the panel includes the following three switches. Gyro selector switch selects between fixed and gyroscoping reticles, or both. Gyro power switch turns the sight on and off. Dimmer rheostat switch controls reticle brightness on the reflector glass. Moving on to the instrument panel,
Easy enough.
The corner houses the remote indicating compass. The compass unit is installed inside the left wing and transmits magnetic readings electrically to the cockpit indicator. Using a remote compass avoids the magnetic effects caused by armor plating around the cockpit, experienced by a standard magnetic compass. The remote indicating compass includes a heading needle, which shows the current heading, and a desired heading needle, which can be turned using the indicator knob to set a desired course reference on the indicator. To turn the knob, you can simply roll the mouse wheel over it.
Okay.
To the right of the remote indicating compass is a standard clock. The winding knob can be used to set the time. Doing so requires pulling the knob out with the left mouse button, then rolling the mouse wheel over the knob to rotate it. On the right side of the gun sight is the suction gauge. The suction gauge indicates the amount of pressure in inches of mercury being generated by the engine vacuum pump. Vacuum pressure is used by a number of vital instruments, including the flight indicator, bank and turn indicator, and the directional gyro. A suction reading above or below normal means the readings of these indicators are unreliable.
Good to know.
Next is the manifold pressure indicator. This is one of the primary instruments used in flight, and together with the tachometer or engine RPM indicator is your main reference of engine power. The manifold pressure indicator shows gas pressure inside the engine induction system prior to entering the cylinders. Like the suction gauge, the indication is in inches of mercury. Manifold pressure is set using the throttle handle, while engine RPM is set using the propeller control lever, also on the throttle quadrant. On the left side of the middle row of the instrument panel is the airspeed indicator, which shows an indicated airspeed in miles per hour, mph. The red line on the indicator marks the maximum permissible airspeed of 505 miles per hour. It's important to remember that maximum permissible indicated airspeed is reduced as altitude increases. For example, it is 400 mph at 20,000 feet and 300 mph at 30,000 feet. In the left center of the instrument panel is the directional gyro, which shows current heading. The instrument can be caged and the heading adjusted manually by pushing in and rotating the indicator knob.
Okay.
In the center right of the instrument panel is the flight indicator, which shows the aircraft's roll and pitch attitude relative to the horizon. The indicator is limited to 60 degrees in pitch and 100 degrees in roll. The instrument can be caged or uncaged using the caging knob in the lower right corner of the indicator. The horizon level can be adjusted vertically using the pitch adjust knob.
I can't cage it again. Oh, whatever.
To the right of the flight indicator are two temperature gauges, the coolant temperature gauge above and the carburetor air temperature below. It's important to monitor these instruments in flight, as temperatures rising above normal may lead to serious engine problems, such as detonation and pre-ignition.
Cool. Blow up the
On
engine.
the right side of the middle row of the instrument panel is the tachometer. This instrument indicates engine speed in revolutions per minute, RPM. The pilot controls engine speed using the propeller control lever on the throttle quadrant. A propeller governor system automatically adjusts propeller pitch angles to maintain the RPM set by the pilot. Typical RPM settings in flight will be between 1,800 and 3,000 RPM. Moving to the bottom row of the instrument panel, the left corner houses the altimeter. The altimeter shows barometric or pressure altitude using a 3-needle system. The shortest needle shows altitude in tens of thousands of feet, the middle needle in thousands of feet, and the longest needle in hundreds of feet. The indicator knob is used to adjust the sea level reference pressure in inches of mercury to ensure an accurate altitude reading over a desired location where the sea level air pressure is known. Next is the bank and turn indicator, primarily used to maintain coordinated flight and minimize side slip. The vertical needle of the instrument indicates turn rate, and the slip ball indicates side slip or side skid. In flight, the pilot maintains the ball's center by using stick and rudder controls or aileron and rudder trim. Flight trim is very sensitive to changes in engine power and airspeed, so constant attention must be paid to the bank and turn indicator in order to fly as efficiently as possible.
Okay.
To the right is the rate of climb indicator, which shows the climb rate in thousands of feet per minute. Further to the right is the accelerometer, or G-meter. This indicator shows the G-load factor experienced by the aircraft, as well as two additional needles that show the maximum and minimum G-loads attained since the instrument was last reset. The instrument includes a reset button used to reset the needles to 0. Finally, on the very right is the engine gauge. This instrument includes 3 indicators: the oil temperature gauge, oil pressure gauge, and the fuel pressure gauge. Moving below the instrument panel, the engine control panel includes a number of important engine controls. These include supercharger blower switch, sets the supercharger to low, high, or automatic blower modes. Normally this should be set to auto. The jewel light indicator lights up when the supercharger kicks into high blower mode. Fuel booster switch turns the fuel booster pumps on and off. Oil dilute switch, used to dilute the oil with gasoline, which may be necessary when starting in cold temperatures. Starter switch, used to turn the engine prior to ignition during startup. Primer switch, used to feed fuel to the engine through the fuel primer system during startup. To the right are the two landing gear warning lights. These indicate safe or unsafe states of the landing gear. For example, the unsafe red light will be on if the gear doors are open but the landing gear is unlocked. Adjacent to the landing gear warning light is the parking brake handle. Setting the parking brake requires the following steps. Pull out and hold the parking brake handle. Fully depress and release the brakes. Release the parking brake handle. Releasing the parking brake only requires a press of the brake pedals. On the right side below the instrument panel are the oxygen indicators, the oxygen flow indicator, and the oxygen pressure gauge. The oxygen flow indicator features a blinker that opens and closes as the pilot inhales and exhales on-demand oxygen. The oxygen pressure gauge shows the amount of oxygen remaining in the O2 tanks in pounds per square inch, PSI. A normal reading is 400 PSI. Just below the instrument panel is the front switch panel, which includes a variety of important controls. Ignition selector switch selects the left, right, or both magnetos to operate the engine ignition system. Gun safety switch arms the guns and gun camera to operate when the gun trigger switch is pressed. Bombs rocket selector switch selects either rockets or bombs to be released when the bomb rocket release switch is pressed. Bombs can be set to release simultaneously or in sequence train. Bomb arming switches arms the bombs for detonation. Rocket release control switch selects single or ripple release of rockets in train. Rocket counter window indicates the sequential number of the next rocket to be fired. Can be reset using the rocket counter reset knob. Rocket delay switch selects instantaneous or delayed detonation upon impact for rockets. Cockpit light switch turns on and adjusts the cockpit floodlights. Horn silence button silences the AN/APS 13 rear warning radar alarm. Below the front switch panel is the fuel control panel. This includes the fuel shutoff valve, used to open and close the fuel flow, and the fuel selector valve, used to select the fuel tank used to feed the engine. Correct fuel tank selection is important in flight to maintain a balanced aircraft. In particular, when the fuselage tank is loaded with more than 40 gallons of fuel, it has a significantly adverse effect on lateral stability. In general, tank selection is performed in the following order: fuselage tank, external drop tanks, and then main wing tanks, alternated to maintain weight distribution. To the right of the fuel control panel are the hydraulic pressure gauge and the landing gear fairing doors emergency release handle. The landing gear fairing doors emergency release handle can be used to release the hydraulic pressure and mechanical locks holding the gear doors closed. This will open the fairing doors and allow the landing gear to fall down under its own weight. Slight rolling of the aircraft from side to side can be used to ensure the gear locks in place prior to landing. Normal pressure for the hydraulic system is 800 to 1,100 psi. The surface control lock is used to lock the control stick in place when the aircraft is parked. Left-clicking over the pin locks the stick in a forward position, which leaves the tail wheel unlocked and allows the aircraft to be towed and turned easily. Right-clicking on the pin locks the stick in the neutral position, which leaves the tail wheel limited to 6 degrees of turn. Moving to the left side of the cockpit, the throttle quadrant dominates the forward section. The throttle quadrant includes the throttle handle, the propeller control lever, and the mixture control lever. In addition, 2 friction locks are mounted on the assembly and can be used to stop the movement of the throttle handle or the mixture and propeller control levers. The throttle handle features a twisting grip used to set the target range for the K-14 gun sight, and a microphone switch button used to activate transmission over the VHF radio.
Okay.
Moving back from the throttle quadrant, the radiator air control panel includes switches to operate the coolant and oil radiator flap doors. These are usually kept in automatic, but can be opened and closed manually when necessary. This panel also includes the landing light switch and the left-hand fluorescent light rheostat switch, which controls instrument backlighting on the left side of the cockpit. The two bomb salvo handles located forward on the left side can be used to mechanically release the left and right bombs in case of damage or malfunction leading to a failure of an electrical release using the normal bomb rocket release switch on the stick.
Those are flaps.
Three trim wheels are used to set the aileron, rudder, and elevator trim. Take off with 5 to 6 degrees of right rudder trim to help compensate for engine torque. Trim settings in flight may vary depending on flight conditions. The two handles toward the left rear of the cockpit control airflow to the engine induction system. The ram air control handle controls whether air is ingested through the main intake under the nose or filtered intakes on either side of the nose. Filtered air is used when icing of the intake develops. The hot air control handle opens a vent door in the engine compartment to allow warm air to enter the carburetor. This can be done below 12,000 feet when icing of the carburetor is a danger. Probably the most awkward control in the cockpit is the flaps control handle in the bottom left corner. The flaps can be set from 0 to 47 marked 50 degrees in 10-degree increments. The landing gear control handle is also on the left side. The handle is pulled in and moved up or down to raise and lower the landing gear as desired. The gear should only be moved when it's locked in either the up or down position. Now moving on to the right side of the cockpit, we have two canopy controls. The canopy is rolled open and closed by turning the canopy hand crank. The red handle is the emergency canopy release. When pulled, this will unlock the canopy and it will fly off into the slipstream.
Well, I mean, you didn't think I wasn't gonna do it, right?
The oxygen regulator is used to control oxygen flow to the pilot's mask. The oxygen diluter lever, marked with yellow stripes, is used to set normal diluted oxygen or 100% oxygen. The red emergency valve is a separate backup oxygen line and can be used to bypass the regulator. The recognition light's keying switch is used to flash the recognition lights installed on the other side of the right wing tip when they are set to key mode on the electrical panel. The lights turn on for as long as the keying switch is held down and off when it is released. The electrical control panel includes switches for battery and generator power, pitot tube and gun heaters, and external lighting. In addition, the right-hand fluorescent light rheostat switch controls the backlighting for instruments on the right side of the cockpit. The electrical control panel also includes an important indicator, the ammeter. This shows current output of the generator in amperes. Maximum permissible output is 100 amperes. The ammeter does not show battery current. Finally, the electrical control panel also includes a circuit breaker bump plate. This can be pressed in to reset all the circuit breakers in case one or more of them gets overloaded and pops out. Further back from the electrical control panel is the AN/APS-13 Rear Warning Radar, or RWR. This device sounds an alarm when an object is detected behind the aircraft to warn the pilot of a possible threat approaching from the rear. Next is the SCR-522 VHF radio, used for communication with flight members and air traffic controllers. The radio features 5 channels, the frequencies for which are preset and cannot be changed in flight. You should consult your mission briefing prior to starting a flight to ensure your radio is set up to contact ATC towers in your vicinity. The remaining radio systems of the P-51, including the homing adapter, IFF transponder, and Detroller range receiver are not functional in this aircraft. Let's now take a look at the fuel gauges. You may need to twist your head around the cockpit a little to see them. You can press left Alt plus C to enable mouse view mode, and then hold down the mouse wheel while moving the mouse to move your head around the cockpit. The fuselage tank gauge is located behind the pilot's seat on the left side. The gauges for the left and right main tanks are located on the floor to either side of the seat.
Oh my god, that is awkward to try and see. Who the fuck?
Finally, the area under the seat also houses cockpit environmental controls, including windshield defrosting and cockpit heating and cooling. This concludes the cockpit overview lesson. Next time, we'll learn how to start her up.
Cool. Let's do that. Engine start up.
Welcome to the startup lesson. Today we will practice the engine start procedure for the P-51D. Press the spacebar key to begin. The engine start sequence is not very complicated. We will move around the cockpit clockwise, starting on the left side to configure the aircraft for engine start. Let's begin with the flaps control handle, positioned to the rear bottom left side of the cockpit. For a normal takeoff, flaps are not usually lowered. However, 15 to 20 degrees of flaps can be used when a minimum run takeoff is required. Set the flaps control handle all the way up to the up position. To do this, you can either click and drag the handle with the mouse or press left shift plus F command repeatedly until it is all the way up. Note, the flaps won't actually come up until the engine is running and there is sufficient pressure in the hydraulic system to raise them. Now,
we're gonna find that. Flaps down. Flaps up.
Set the carburetor induction system for normal operation by moving the cold air control handle all the way forward to the ram air position and the hot air control handle all the way forward to the normal position. Next, set the coolant and oil radiator air control switches to the auto position for automatic operation of the coolant and oil radiator flap doors. To do so, left-click on the auto switch positions. Don't forget to close the switch covers after. Adjust the trim tabs to prepare for takeoff. Set rudder trim to 5 degrees right. Elevator trim depends on fuel load. With the fuselage tank empty, elevator trim can be left neutral. With the fuselage tank filled with 25 gallons or more, elevator trim should be set between 2 and 4 degrees nose down.
Can I change that? Nope. All right.
Aileron trim remains neutral.
Okay, that apparently didn't work. Let's try. Aileron. Left. Up. Rudder left. Reset trim. There we go. Okay. Trim 5 degrees right.
On the throttle quadrant, ensure the propeller RPM lever marked P is set all the way forward to increase, and the fuel mixture lever marked M is set to idle cutoff. Set the throttle handle about 1 inch forward from the full back position to slightly open the throttle butterfly valve and allow air to flow to the engine. If you don't have a throttle controller, the plus and minus keys on the keyboard numpad can be used to move the throttle handle. Moving to the engine control panel on the front dash, turn on the fuel booster pump by setting the fuel booster switch to the up position by clicking over the switch. Select the left and right magnetos to provide power to the engine ignition system by setting the ignition switch to both. On the fuel control panel, ensure that the left wing tank is selected for fuel consumption by checking that the fuel selector valve is set to the main tank LH position. Open the fuel shutoff valve by clicking on it to set it to the on position. Let's set the parking brake to make sure we remain stationary when the engine begins to pull. You may want to open the controls indicator by pressing right control
That's not what I wanted.
to monitor.
Just controls. My parking brake. There's just the brakes, wheel brake, wheel brake, both.
To the positions of your flight controls, including the brakes. Setting the parking brake takes a few steps. First, pull out and hold the parking brake handle by clicking and holding it. Next, while continuing to hold the parking brake handle, fully press the brake pedals by holding down the W key. Continuing to hold the parking brake handle, release the wheel brakes by releasing the W key. Now release the parking brake handle to set the parking brake. If done correctly, the parking brake handle should remain in the pulled out position. We'll now move on to the electrical control panel on the right side of the cockpit. Set the battery switch to the up position to provide electrical power. Also, set the generator switch to the up position to prepare the generator to take over once the engine is running over 1500 to 1700 RPM. Click and hold the primer switch on the engine control panel for about 1 second to feed some fuel to the engine. When starting in cold temperatures, up to 4 seconds of prime may be necessary. We are now ready to attempt an engine start. To do so, first press and hold the starter switch to operate the starter and begin turning the engine. As the engine begins to catch, move the fuel mixture control lever on the throttle quadrant to the run position by right-clicking on it once. If you aren't able to start the engine successfully, return the fuel mixture lever to idle cutoff by left-clicking and repeat the process starting with priming the engine. Note, the engine starter can be easily overheated. The starter should not be used for more than 4 20-second attempts to start, with 15-second intervals, followed by a 5-minute cooling off period. Good start. Now we need to make sure the engine is running smoothly without any indications of a problem. Use the RPM gauge and adjust the throttle to run the engine at about 1200 to 1300 RPM. Monitor the engine gauge to check the oil pressure to reach at least 50 psi and the oil temperature to reach at least 40 degrees Celsius. Check the suction gauge to make sure it is showing a normal suction rate of 3.75 to 4.25 inches. Press the spacebar key to proceed.
Okay.
Check the hydraulic pressure gauge to make sure it is reading a normal pressure of 800 to 1100 psi. Check the oxygen pressure gauge to make sure it is reading a normal pressure of 400 psi. Press the space bar key to proceed. Continue to idle the engine at 1000 to 1200 RPM. Remember to release the parking brake before taxiing. To do so, fully depress and release the wheel brake to double the gear. This concludes the engine start lesson. Well done.
Hey, look at us. Alright, is there a wheel, steering? Surface control lock plunger. Change that. Ooh, why is it spinning? If I hold on. It's just doing donuts. And this thing does not like to turn. Come on. Make the turn. Oh god. Alright, we're gonna pretend that didn't happen. Ooh, this might actually be a little bit harder than anticipated.
Welcome to the taxi lesson. Today we will practice taxiing in the P-51D. Press the spacebar key to begin. As with most other aircraft configured with a tail-dragging undercarriage, taxiing in the P-51 can be tricky. Forward visibility is obstructed by the nose, and it doesn't take much to nose over into the ground. To maintain awareness of the area ahead, the aircraft is taxied in a zigzag or S pattern, turning it from side to side as it rolls forward. You can move your head position to either side in the cockpit to peek around the nose. To do so, press left Alt plus C to enable mouse view mode, and press and hold the mouse wheel while dragging the mouse left and right. Alternatively, you can use the commands right control plus right shift plus num.
Hey Dan, it's
plus right shift plus num 6 to move your head from
it's
side to side.
going okay. Finished the Georgian Hammer campaign in the Apache on Sunday, and so I thought I'd give the P-51 a try. Just going through the trial period and learning how to fly this beast.
This makes it possible to perform tight turns, but can be very tricky to control as the aircraft rotation can be sudden and violent, depending on speed, applied brakes, engine power, and rudder position. Press the spacebar key to proceed. When taxiing over a smooth and level surface, such as this runway, very little engine power is required. It's also best to minimize the use of brakes to prevent unnecessary wear and heating. Hot brakes can easily ice over after takeoff as the aircraft...
Yeah, it's been interesting so far.
Press right control plus enter to open the controls indicator so you can monitor the position of your flight controls.
Right control, enter. Oops. Right control, enter.
Control stick aft of center and hold it there to keep the tail wheel locked for taxiing. To practice taxi control, we will use a lead car to take you through a short taxiing course. The car is now waiting in position to your left. Press the spacebar key when you are ready to begin.
Oh, I gotta pull
The
back
car will
while
now
I'm
drive
doing this.
forward at about 10 mph. Add a little power to begin moving forward. Use the numpad plus and minus keys to control the throttle. Use the Z and X keys to control the rudder pedals to turn left and right. Use the W key to depress the wheel brakes as required. Zigzag from side to side as you follow the car through the course. Try to stay between 100 and 300 feet from the car. Don't worry, if you get too far behind, it will stop until you catch up. Don't get too close either, or the driver will panic from fear of being turned into mincemeat and will stop.
Tell him to drive a little bit faster. Like I'm.
The car will now turn onto the taxiway to the right.
Oh, I literally can't turn anymore. Man, this thing turns like a freaking boat. Turning radius of a Carnival cruise liner. Jesus. Where's he at? I'm gonna run him over. Probably.
The car will now turn right to come around onto the taxiway leading back to the runway.
It's cool. You can take the short right. I'm gonna take the long right.
We'll stop here for a moment. Moving on, we'll now make a left onto the runway.
We're going left. That is not enough runway. Are you moving, friend? Can't see you.
We'll now make a right turn onto the apron area to turn around to face the runway again. This is a tight space and will require some care. You may need to unlock the tail wheel to make this turn by pushing the stick forward. When the tail wheel is unlocked, use differential braking to control your turn. Press left control plus W to use the left wheel brake, and left alt plus W to use the right wheel brake.
Really? You're still not gonna turn for me?
The car will stop here. See if you can pull up next to it.
Oh my god. It's... Alright, that's enough taxing. Let's try getting up in the air. And taxiing is not fun in this thing.
Welcome to the takeoff lesson. Today we will practice taking off in the P-51D. Press the spacebar key to begin.
Actually, you know what we're going to do? I am going to...
The P-51 is generally very controllable in takeoff, but the powerful engine and large propeller spinning at the front do require careful use of the rudder in order to maintain a straight course down the runway. A right rudder trim of 5 to 6 degrees is a standard takeoff setting and is usually sufficient to maintain directional stability in the takeoff run. A normal takeoff is performed at takeoff power, which is 61 inches of manifold pressure at 3,000 RPM. However, to minimize controllability issues while practicing, we will take off at a reduced power setting of about 50 inches of manifold pressure. Press the spacebar key to proceed. Your primary instruments during the takeoff run will be the airspeed indicator on the left side of the instrument panel and the manifold pressure indicator on the right side. Once in the air, we will use the turn indicator and the rate of climb indicator to maintain a desired flight path. Press the spacebar key to proceed. The first key element of a successful takeoff is a gradual onset of power. You cannot just slam the throttle forward. The torque effects of a sudden burst of power are very likely to run you off the runway and into the grass with devastating results. The other key element is the tail lift. As the aircraft accelerates toward 100 miles per hour, the tail will lift itself off the ground, unless held down with some stick back pressure. You can perform a takeoff without a tail lift by simply holding the stick back to maintain a three-point attitude until the plane flies itself off the ground. Most pilots, however, prefer to let the tail rise up to continue accelerating while running on the front wheels before lifting off into the air. Press the spacebar key to proceed. The takeoff starts with the stick held back to keep the tail wheel locked for a controlled ground run. To perform a tail lift, neutralize the stick as speed approaches 100 miles per hour. Be careful to avoid lifting the tail too early by pushing the stick forward. The changes in pitch angles occurring during the tail lift cause significant directional instability, which is more difficult to control at slower speeds. Careful rudder input will be required to maintain heading as the tail lifts. You may need to alternate a bit of right and left rudder input before stabilizing for the liftoff. Press the spacebar key to proceed. Flaps are not used in a normal takeoff. 15 to 20 degrees of down flaps are used when a minimum run takeoff is required. Press right control plus enter to open the controls indicator so you can monitor the position of your flight controls. To prepare for the takeoff run, set the rudder trim to about 5 degrees right. Click and drag the rudder trim tab control wheel. On the throttle quadrant, make sure the RPM lever is set all the way forward to increase. If not, press and hold the page up key to set it. Hold down the wheel brakes using the W key. Using the numpad plus and minus keys, control the throttle to set the manifold pressure to about 30 inches. Keep the stick pulled somewhat aft of neutral to keep the tail wheel locked. Whenever you're ready, release the wheel brakes to begin the takeoff run. Use the rudder or CNX keys to maintain your heading down the runway. Gradually add power to set about 50 inches of manifold pressure. Neutralize the stick to lift the tail, using the rudder. Gently pull back on the stick to take off. Watch the turn indicator and use your rudder and aileron control to maintain the takeoff flight
Alright. Not bad. Okay. Landing. Fun stuff. Landing should be interesting. But after that, we hopefully start shooting something.
Welcome to the landing lesson. Today we will practice flying visual approach pattern and landing followed by the engine shutdown procedure. If you're having trouble hearing my instruction on engine noise, turn down the world and in cockpit sound sliders in the options menu. Take a moment to stabilize the aircraft. Set the throttle to allow ventilators and manifold pressure follow the coast line as we fly northward. Press the space bar key when you are ready. The Mustang is not equipped with any modern precision approach systems, such as ILS. This means landings are performed using a visual approach pattern. In this lesson, we'll use a standard military overhead pattern. An overhead pattern consists of the following basic elements. Entry into the pattern on the upward line, where the aircraft is flown along the runway parallel to the landing course. The crosswind line, where the aircraft is turned 180 degrees to take the downwind leg, using the turn to bring off any excess speed. The downwind line, where the aircraft is flown along the runway in the opposite direction of the landing approach and is prepared for landing. The baseline, where the aircraft is turned another 180 degrees on the city to take the final approach. The final approach, where the aircraft is flown down a steady glide path past the runway threshold to the touchdown point. I've included an image with the mission briefing showing an example of the overhead approach pattern. To open the briefing, press the left button plus B. Press the space bar key to proceed. The lengths and altitudes of the pattern may vary. For this practice mission, we will assume a typical pattern of entry at 1,000 feet above ground level and holding that altitude over the upwind and downwind legs. Baseline, descending to 600 feet toward the final approach point. A normal typical glide slope from the final approach point, starting at 600 feet of altitude and 2 nautical miles away from the runway. Press the space bar key to proceed. The airspeeds flown in the pattern depend on the aircraft. For the P-51D, the pattern speed is no greater than 200 miles per hour. Because the landing gear and flaps can only be lowered at speeds below 170 miles per hour. One of the advantages of the overhead pattern is that it allows you to bleed off any excess airspeed in the crosswind turn before settling down on the downwind leg and dropping the gear and flaps for final approach. Final approach is flown at 120 miles per hour and touchdown speed is 90. Press the space bar key to proceed. Landing is one of the most difficult and dangerous elements of flying, especially in an airplane like the P-51, where a powerful engine and large propeller in the nose of the aircraft pull a massive amount of torque. At low speeds, the aircraft is very sensitive to power changes, and it's easy to get into trouble by mishandling the engine and aircraft controls, in particular at low altitudes when there's little time to react. Once we enter the pattern, be careful to avoid large throttle movements and handle the controls carefully to maintain control and stable flight. Press the space bar key to proceed. Before entering the pattern, set the engine RPM to 2,700. Also turn off the inside gyro motor to avoid damaging it in case of a rough touchdown.
Turn off. Right. So not off. Almost ran her right into the ground. I turned it off. Let's not turn it off. You know what? It's not working, so we're just going to do this manually. Alright, let's turn it around. At our landing gear. Flaps down once more. Flaps again. Slowly. Oh yeah, that'll help the turning. Look at that. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful landing. Alright, let's figure out how to shoot stuff. Gyro sight. Correct. Incorrect. Correct range. Fire. Incorrect. Nipper off. Okay. Target's wingspan. Alright, so this. Ooh, look at that. There we go. That's better. Alright. Ooh, I am all over the place. Come on. Where'd it go? There he is. Oh, I saw him. Where'd he go? Oh, Jesus. Oh. Trying to bleed off some speed here. Jesus. And lose him again. Saw someone up here. No, maybe not. There he is. Did I even damage him enough? And we'll come back around on him. Oh shit, where'd my target go? Oh, there he is. I am finding it difficult at the moment. Like, just even trying to hit this guy that's flying in a perfectly straight line that I somehow lost again? There he is. Die? Where did he go? Yeah, it's, I mean, you know, getting the basics of it down is like not, it's not overly complicated to understand how like the sights and everything work. But holy shit, actually putting it into practice is a whole other, whoops, what the hell did I hit? Is a whole other animal. Now why am I so... Okay. Sit up just a little bit. And now I lost my targets. Oh, there's one. And now I lost him again. Yeah, it's tough. Especially seeing as it seems like the bird is so all over the place. Oh, that should have hit, right? He's definitely going down. Now, where is your friend? There was a second. There he is. I think I need to get closer. Never. Yeah, I mean that's kind of how it feels. What's nice is that this one, at least, is like a gyroscopic sight, so it kind of moves around based on how you're moving the plane. So theoretically, all you have to do is just put the little crosshair right on the guy and pull the trigger. And I said that, it's made it look really easy and really cool as I said it. But yeah, ideally that's what it should look like. Like you just put the crosshair on there, and as long as you're at the right, pip size, it should hit the target. But also feels like in order for that to work, you have to be like at the same turn rate as your target. Like you're not going to be able to do that with someone that's just like crossing the nose or going a different direction. You have to be basically in a rate fight with them in order to get that to work. Oops, I didn't want to do the solo practice because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing with ground. So we're gonna try and let's try and hit something on the ground. And I think this has mounts for rockets and guns, and it'd be kind of fun to do some.
Welcome to the ground attack lesson. I've set the simulation to run with pause words to discuss some ground attack basics before we begin the practice. If you're having trouble hearing my instructions, turn down the roll and then up the sound If these options aren't already set, you may want to set them in your options.
I don't even.
Press the spacebar key. Although the P-51 was designed primarily as a fighter, it is quite effective as a light ground attack aircraft, armed with 2 500-pound bombs, or up to 10 impact rockets, in addition to 650 caliber machine guns. Like most other fighters in the area, however, it is not equipped with a bomb set. This means accurate weapons delivery depends somewhat on technique, but mostly on pilot skill and experience. In this lesson, we will carry on its
If the enemy doesn't get you, the ground will. I mean, ground always wins. Do I have a site? And is there a weapon release? Weapon release. Change that to this. Clear that. Okay. War emergency power. Yeah, let's do that. That mode rotary. Do that. Let's train on the front switch panel. Speaking of, here's a sight. Good luck. Where the hell is my target? Oh, damn. Right where I was aiming, too. I have another bomb. I do have. I got tons of bombs. Shit. I think I fucked up. Can I save it? Yep, we can save it. Ooh, it's close. Alright, gain some altitude. Circle around. Roll over, please. Thank you. Oh my god. Come on. Alright, airspeed's a little low. Level out. Damn, I missed. Nope. Way too far. That's probably why. So if I set this to auto, what's my target area? Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. I think I'm firing way too early. Still way too early. That's better. So I need to be actually decently close. Or I need to take a steeper dive angle. Try the bombs again. Didn't even see what was hit. Right. Let's drop both. Don't stall. Oh, you suck. Hey, hang on, good. There we go. You got this. Nope. Come on. Take that turn. That was pretty good. Try the rockets again. Did I? Get a little close? Alright. Let's quit. Alright, I think I've got the hang of it. Sort of. So I don't want to buy the World War II asset pack just yet. Camp 1. German coastal convoys have been running. Red Rover, Red Rover. Enemy flights. Channel C. Let's try this. Oh, am I dropping frames? What the hell? I suppose it was only a couple.
Enemy flights will originate from Krimsk Air Base, 40 kilometers to the north-northeast. Intercept and shoot down each enemy flight before they overfly your base and move their service. AWACS is available to help locate the enemy flights.
Off the ground. Good job. What's my... Zero 2 2. Wrong way. We're 23 at 7,000. So we're gonna need to climb. And I need my gun sight. Would be nice. Why is that not working? Like it should be working, right? Oh, this is on. Oh, that's on. Oh, that's on. Why do I have no gun sight? What the hell? K14 gun sight. Right shift and O. Okay, so it's on. Turn that off. Oh, brightness increase. What the actual fuck? Alright. P. Viewpoint just off. No. No, it's just not there. Gun safety switch. There it is. Jesus. Alright. Zero, 006. That's my wingman. There's 01 at 21, 7,000. What's my altitude? I'm above 7,000. I keep going the wrong direction. Alright, I'm not seeing anyone. .341. .11 miles. Oh, I see him. Page.
Mission failed. Enemy aircraft reached your base.
Damn it. I also blacked out.
Enemy flights will originate from Krimsk Air Base, 40 kilometers to the north-northeast. Intercept and shoot down each enemy flight before they overfly your base and move your risk. AWACS is available to help locate the enemy flights.
Zero, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, it's 0, 2, 3. Okay, where is this fucker at? Zero, 2, 3. Nine miles. Urged. Excuse me, where? Miss them? Oh, there he is. Alright, this time we're merged. Gauge. Come on. Come on, you bastard. I also have no idea how this guy's like out running me. I got this thing freaking pinned. Oh, he's hitting. Why are you ejecting? And I lost him. I lost my target. lost my target. That sucks.
Enemy flights will originate from Krimsk Air Base, 40 kilometers to the north-northeast. Intercept and shoot down each enemy flight before they overfly your base and overstrikes. AWACS is available to help locate the enemy flights.
Oh my god. Okay. Try that again. Nobody saw that.
Enemy flights will originate from Krimsk Air Base, 40 kilometers to the north-northeast. Intercept and shoot down each enemy flight before they overfly your base and overstrikes. AWACS is available to help locate the enemy flights.
Oh my god, I lost it again. Holy shit. Taking off should not be this difficult. Okay, let's set some rudder.
Enemy flights will originate from Krimsk Air Base, 40 kilometers to the north-northeast. Intercept and shoot down each enemy flight before it can overfly your base at Novosibirsk. AWACS is available to help locate the enemy flights.
Nope. Turn in the right way. Put him over there. No. Jersey. Let's see. Merge where? Two, 4, 5. Jesus. He always seems to be higher than I expect him to be. few more rounds than I expected, but okay, so nobody's out there. Pop-up groups 15 miles out. Oh, I see one. There he is. Yep, I see him. Come on. Got him. Alright, where's this other guy? God damn, how is this guy so fast? Alright, we're pushing the power. I'm gonna gain some speed and so hoping the goddamn engine doesn't blow up. Jesus, got him. A SAM site? Aren't I supposed to have a fuel gauge right there? 336. Come on. Oh, I'm out of ammo. All right. Wonder if there's any How can I start a server? Oh, there's other missions. Oh, there's an entire campaign. Or instant action. There we go. Oop. I just wanted to see what it was. I didn't want to actually click on it. Yep, did not mean to actually click on it. I was like, oh, what is this? My task, ground attack. I mean, yeah, ground attack is fine, but I want airfield raid, low level hell. Dogfight? Let's dogfight. Let's see if this will actually work. There he is. Ooh. Almost hit each other in the merge there, and I fucking... Did I lose a wing or something? Like, did I? I must have gotten clipped. There's no reason. Just turning would have... Alright. Try that again. Where is my... throttle? I can't see him. Oh, he found me. Yeah, that's fine. I'm probably gonna hop over in just a minute. Can't even finish him off. Alright. Let's bring it around. He didn't really put up much of a fight. Why does... always does that? Like... am I trimmed out wrong or something? Like, what the hell? There he is. Alright, now I think I'm behind him. I don't know where my reticule was. Alright, let's try it one more time. See if I can get that turn off the merge down a little bit better. Where'd it go? Damn it. I'd say yes and no to that question. Just because the VR headset, is nice, but I don't know, sometimes I feel like I actually need to look at the controls. To see what I'm doing. Oh, shh. Oh my god. And I mean, I've got the Toby head tracker fairly well situated to where I'm used to it and whatnot by now, but just had him there. Got him. Yeah, it's really only a big deal when I'm doing like the full turnaround. It's really the only time that it gets a little bit awkward. Other than that, I don't even really notice it too much anymore. Those are some good hits. Come on, get in front. God damn, I'm taking like chunks of them off. Just can't get the kill shot. Now he's on fire. Now I got him. Yeah, thanks. I gotta keep practicing to learn the limits. I keep pushing past them just slightly, and when I do, the aircraft just like pops sideways, and it's very jarring. I think on that note, I am going to call it an evening. And I'll probably look at getting the Normandy pack, or maybe run through the campaign on this next time I'm on. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you around next time.